Hello everyone. Let's cut to the chase here. I'm actually writing this way before my Sunoo commentary video is even finished, so you'll hear all of this way after it's done. I'm pissed off but also not shocked at all that this happened. So I think on January 30th, 2024, Engenes on Twitter were complaining about how there were so many heeseung solo stands at the Macau concert for ENHYPEN's Fate tour. Or, there were a lot of people who were against heeseung. The claims were a bit confusing for me to read. But anyway, point is there was a lot of bad shit happening both during soundcheck and even the actual concert apparently. And it wasn't just heeseung getting treated poorly by fans. Sunghoon, Jake and Jae also all had bad things happen to them while in Macau. Sunghoon apparently got cursed out by some solo fans during the actual concert. Jake was sat next to a sasaengs fan on their flight to Macau and she even posted the photo on her Instagram. Side note. Why do people post shit like this knowing they're gonna get backlash? I know some people are stupid as fuck, but it's still unbelievable how stupid some people can actually be. And Jae had photos taken of him by I think another sasaeng on their flight too. Difference is Jake was asleep and Jae was awake. Plus there was a whole incident where the fans kept fighting each other during soundcheck to where ENHYPEN kept telling them that they were gonna move back into the stage so they wouldn't be as close to them. It was probably due to their own safety reasons, but also a very minor punishment to the stupid and selfish fans that were there. Basically everything about the Macau concert was a hot mess and a lot of the fans there treated the members like either garbage or objects. I say objects because one fan even held up a sign that said, "F me," on it. What is wrong with some people? I literally don't care if that person was possibly a minor. You don't do that at a concert or anywhere. People who do shit like this are extremely selfish because they only focus on their own wants and needs. They do not give a damn about how these idols feel. Even if other people tell them. If that girl's social media was found, but if it was and people told her what she did was wrong and disgusting, she would most likely pull the "you're just jealous I got to see them" argument. A very common argument I always see when terrible fans get called out for their shitty behavior. Sorry for ranting about this isn't even the main topic of this video, but I mentioned it because it fits right into the actual topic I want to talk about. I want to talk about Sunoo stans and how they reacted to all of this bullshit, or really rather how much they didn't react to all of this bullshit. You see, I follow a list of many Sunoo fan accounts and fansite accounts on Twitter. For a bit more context, do you guys remember when Sunoo was receiving unalive threats when they went to Singapore for their Fate tour concert back in early January 2024? What I witnessed at the time was of many Sunoo stans yelling and crying about how Engenes weren't taking the threats seriously, especially UNTOLD apparently due to their silence on everything. They made many claims that most Engenes secretly hate Sunoo just because most people seem to have not taken the threats seriously. When I make a video for this audio, I won't bother to take screenshots this time like in the other video. You can look them up on Twitter if you search keywords like Sunoo D-word threats or something. These complaints lasted for multiple days on Twitter. Now to be clear, I do agree that the threats should have been taken more seriously by Engenes. But I also understand why not a lot of people actually took them seriously. A huge majority of the time whenever someone on Twitter makes an unalive threat, it's always by a stupid child or adult that was extremely bored that day. I think literally one of the people that posted a threat was actually a school student, a stupid child. But still, whenever you see threats like that, please make sure to email UNTOLD about it. And please don't listen to dumbass solo stans saying that these companies do nothing about threats like this just because they're silent. They do make public announcements about it every now and then. Trust me, Sunoo stans on Twitter were just using that incident to once again paint Sunoo as being mistreated horribly and make him a victim again. The solo stan rhetoric is so tiring. Anyway, that was how they reacted when Sunoo was getting threats. So how did they react when heeseung, Sunghoon, Jake and Jae got treated poorly at a Macau concert? The answer is, they didn't react. At all. Nothing. Absolute complete crickets. I literally scrolled on the Twitter list to see if at least one person would say something or mention anything about that situation. But there was absolutely nothing. I'm sure there were some Sunoo accounts that mentioned the incident, you know, the actual OT7 ones? But these other accounts and fansites? Silent, mute, light work, no reaction. I'm sure you know why by this point, but in case you don't, it's because Sunoo was not involved, at least not directly like the unalive threats. Because I'm 1000% sure if Sunoo got his photo taken by a sasaeng on the plane, or if he got cursed out at their own concert by ANDTEAM or solos, they would be making a whole shit storm on social media right now. But since nothing bad happened specifically to him as far as we know, for them there's nothing to talk about apparently. And mind you, these are the same people that claim to be OT7. These are the exact same people that when I expressed doubt about the future perfect Japanese MV mistreatment, they called me a belift booty licker, a belift D-rider, a Sunoo auntie, a dumb bitch, someone that didn't care about him or disrespected him, and probably some unalive threats somewhere in my deleted Twitter thread. They're so incredibly loud about Sunoo getting treated badly. But for some reason when it happens to the other members everyone is completely quiet about it. At this point, does Sunoo have to be directly involved for them to finally say something to protect the other members too? You know what? I'm so happy that a lot of Engenes on Twitter seem to not take these Sunoo stans seriously. It looks like they kinda get ignored by other stans of the other members because they also know that they're diet solo stans. And everybody and their mom knows how toxic solo stans are. So they stay out of their way. Unlike me who experienced the full force of their attacks. Update for this audio diary. A lot of things happened between when I wrote this monologue and now in May. How the fuck is it already May? Anyway, I think back in March or April. These Sunoo stans were heavily complaining about Sunoo not getting any opportunities or brand deals like the other members. They also started speculating that the new format of their quarterly show called ENHYPEN Company was just filled with the other members bragging about their solo activities, while Sunoo had to sit there and listen because he had none. It was a complete shit show on Twitter because they once again made their complaints loud and clear, but this time, other Engenes had enough of these solo stans bullshit and started to either try to quiet them down or shut them up completely. It got to the point where these Sunoo stans actually, and I mean actually, started to fully justify their aggressive solo stan behavior, and they basically separated themselves from the rest of the fandom at this point. It honestly made me so happy seeing other Engenes get tired of these Sunoo stans lashing out quote unquote to protect and defend Sunoo. With my own past with these stans I tried to stay quiet, but I was also so fed up with their shit I couldn't help myself, so I tried to write out a heavily censored tweet about them to try and avoid my tweet being seen by them. I censored out Sunoo's name and called them Bojangles instead of Baragis, and yet somehow some of them still found that tweet and they attacked me again. It wasn't as bad this time. Nowhere near to when it first happened in January. They took a liking to me calling them Bojangles for some reason. Enjoy the new nickname, I guess? Since I was afraid that the attacks would get worse, I ended up deleting the tweet. I hate when they infest in the quote tweets, they love doing that shit. Ew. As of right now things have calmed down, but knowing them they will ramp up again real soon. Especially because when I'm writing this, their Dark Moon album is gonna be releasing in about 5 days. If Sunoo ends up getting less lines or less screen time or something again, their outrage will heat up once again. I'll stop the update here because this is getting too long, and I don't want to accidentally talk about anything that will be talked about in my upcoming Sunoo commentary video. I've been working on that damn project since December. That is ridiculous. I swear commentary videos don't take me this long to produce. Unless they're ones I feel very strong about, like this one. But it still shouldn't take 6 months to make, holy crap. That's all I wanted to talk about for this audio diary entry. I wanted to talk about this as soon as possible before I forgot about any major points I wanted to make. Little update for this old script into February 2025. I talk about how I want to space out my content and make sure to finish things ahead of time so I can have time to rest or whatever. But it didn't really happen, so I'm taking it all out of the original script. It's boring to hear anyway. Let's get to the ending of this video. I'll write my next audio diary entry possibly soon because there is something else I want to talk about. Thankfully it's not about Sunoo stans again. I'm a little burned out on talking about the fans. Just wait for that, and I'll talk next time. Thanks for listening. Okay, this is the last update for this video. Please watch because it's very important. To everyone on Twitter that tried to send me multiple threads of quote-unquote proof of Sunoo's mistreatment and mismanagement, every single one of them had the future perfect Japanese MV non-evidence in them. As I stated to death in multiple videos, that incident was not mistreatment because he was fucking sick. And I have to state again, these fans knew and already know about Sunoo's health condition in the past. Like I said before, they purposely ignored his condition to try and make things fit their mistreatment narrative that they're weirdly obsessed with. So all I want to say in this update is to all the people who included the future perfect Japanese MV incident as proof of mistreatment, remove it. That is not any proof of mistreatment. Like I said before, we will never know exactly what happened, but believe letting Sunoo sit out and recover to make sure he got better is not mistreatment. You can all hang on to the "they could have rescheduled" argument for dear life. It doesn't change the way you all went about that whole situation. Admit that you all ignored his health and well-being to try and fit a narrative. Most of you didn't even care that he recovered and was able to do Japanese promotions for their album at the time because you were so focused on trying to prove that Sunoo was mistreated because he was too sick to film a music video. Something is seriously wrong with a lot of you. Your questionable love for Sunoo has made you all go completely blind of your own actions because you've convinced yourselves that you're doing all of this to help him, protect him, support him. What have you? I've been told so many times that I'm the Sunoo auntie just because I called out this behavior multiple times. I simply call out their actions and now I'm a Sunoo auntie. How telling is that? At this point, no matter what I or anyone else says, they won't budge. So really, I'm mostly making this video to showcase how gross these quote-unquote fans' behavior is. There have been many times where I doubted the mistreatment claims, but that's because a lot of the claims just look like some people at Belift suck at their job and definitely need to do better. But I honestly don't think that anyone at the company genuinely hates Sunoo, or I at least haven't seen any clear proof of that yet. Plus, claims of mistreatment usually allude to the possibility that an idol is getting abused to some degree. Maybe we shouldn't be throwing potential abuse claims around like they're nothing without concrete proof, just saying. I forgot to say this in the ANDTEAM K section of my other video, but I genuinely think that these fans cannot let go of what happened on ILand. It's funny because they tried to say that K himself couldn't let go of what happened because of his Weverse magazine interview, but I think they're just telling on themselves. They refuse to let go of all the things Sunoo went through on ILand, as if they were the ones who went through it themselves. I understand that ILand was apparently pretty hard to watch for most fans of the show, but stop acting like you went through exactly what those contestants went through. I completely understand heavily protecting Sunoo when he was on ILand because he was literally a minor at the time, but the way Sunoo stands on Twitter go about protecting Sunoo now is still the same. They defend him like he's still that 16-year-old they instantly gravitated towards on episode 1, as if he isn't now a whole 21-year-old man who is completely capable of defending and protecting himself, speaking out when he feels the need to. I do not want to hear any of the "what about this incident? What about when he said this? What about that thing?" arguments. You're just desperately trying to cling onto that narrative, trying to baby and victimize him once again. The hyperfixation on Sunoo possibly being mistreated is so gross, honestly. This is why other Engenes who bias the other members or who just bias the entire group hate a whole group of you. You all want to protect Sunoo's image so bad, but time and time again you continue to make it worse for him. Yes, I understand wanting Sunoo to get more opportunities and expressing that publicly, but really look at the way you do it. Being overtly aggressive about it and attacking everyone and anyone that tells you to stop being so aggressive is why a lot of Engenes on Twitter don't like you. Even more rational Sunoo stans don't even like y'all, so if you're so confused as to why everyone doesn't like you, maybe look at yourselves a bit more? I don't know what else to tell you there. Little Miss Baragis. I know I said a bajillion times that I was gonna stop talking about the future perfect Japanese MV situation, yet I keep talking about it. It obviously bothered me so much that I had a million things to say about it even after it's been 2 years since it happened. I'm just trying really hard to emphasize and express how gross that incident was, especially because to this very day Sunoo stans use this incident as evidence of his mistreatment. That's why I talked about this specific incident so many times both on Twitter and in multiple videos to show other possible perspectives that these disgusting diet solos are not even trying to consider. But I really hope this time I actually expressed everything I wanted to say about it. And believe me, I'm not trying to change these people's minds. I know that's not gonna work at all. I'm just exposing their behavior because I saw that no other K-pop YouTuber is trying to. And I understand, these people will harass you if you disagree with them. I'm a victim of it already. I hope I managed to do what I could. These people are certified diet solo stans, and I hope Engenes as a fandom starts really shutting down solo stan rhetoric. It really wreaks havoc within the entire K-pop community.